The sea has always held secrets, but none as dark as the one it kept hidden for 2 long years. In 2007, Ruby Rose Barrameda, a young mother, sister, and daughter, vanished without a trace. Her family searched, prayed, and hoped she would return. But what they didn't know was that Ruby Rose's fate had already been sealed in the most horrifying way imaginable. When the truth finally surfaced in 2009, it would shock the entire nation. A story of betrayal, power, and a murder so gruesome, it remains one of the Philippines' most haunting crime cases. This is Pinoy, True Crime Story, and you're about to hear the chilling tale of the murder of Ruby Rose Barrameda. The waves of Navotas move gently against the breakwaters, but behind those waters lies a story so dark, so cruel, that it would shake the entire Philippines. It is the story of Ruby Rose Barrameda, a young mother, a woman full of life and dreams, whose disappearance in 2007 and the chilling discovery of her body 2 years later would reveal one of the most shocking murders in recent memory. Ruby Rose Barrameda, a Geminian, was no stranger to public life. She was the sister of actress Rochelle Barrameda, and her family was fairly well known in Navotas, a city long tied to the sea. But beyond the glitz of her sister's career and the name their family carried, Ruby Rose lived a quieter, more personal story. One filled with struggles, battles for custody of her children, and a desperate fight for freedom from a failed marriage. Her husband was Manuel Jimenez III, a man from a wealthy and influential clan in Navotas. Their marriage, which once promised stability, was marred by conflict. By 2005, Ruby Rose filed for annulment. What followed was a painful and bitter custody battle for her 2 young daughters. Ruby Rose fought hard. She wanted to be with her children, to raise them with love. But the legal war grew uglier and more exhausting. She lost custody, and by 2007, she lived separated from her children. Family members later shared that she was distraught, but determined to continue the fight. And then, on March 14, 2007, Ruby Rose vanished. That day, she left her home, telling friends she was going to meet someone. Hours passed, days turned into weeks, but she never returned. Her family searched tirelessly, appealing to the media, seeking answers, hoping against hope that Ruby Rose would come home. But the silence was deafening. 2 years later, in June 2009, a startling confession surfaced. A fisherman-turned-witness approached the authorities, claiming knowledge about Ruby Rose's disappearance. His story was bone-chilling. According to the witness, Ruby Rose had been lured into a trap. She was abducted, brought to a warehouse in Navotas, and there, she was beaten, strangled, and suffocated. But what shocked the nation was not only the cruelty of her death, but the way her killers disposed of her body. Ruby Rose was placed inside a steel drum. Her remains, along with cement and sand, were sealed tight, entombing her in a makeshift coffin of metal. The drum was then welded shut and later loaded onto a fishing vessel. Under the cover of darkness, it was dropped into the murky waters of Manila Bay, meant never to be found. But fate had other plans. The witness led authorities to the site, and in June 2009, divers retrieved a drum from the bay. Inside it, they found skeletal remains. Dental records would confirm it was Ruby Rose Barrameda. The discovery horrified the public. Newspapers described it as one of the most gruesome crimes in Philippine history. The nation's attention turned to the Barrameda and Jimenez families and the long-brewing tension between them. Suspicion immediately fell on Ruby Rose's estranged husband's family. Investigators alleged that Manuel Jimenez Jr., uncle of Ruby Rose's husband, had masterminded the murder. With him, others were implicated, men allegedly hired to carry out the killing. In a press conference, the Barrameda family, including actress Rochelle Barrameda, wept as they demanded justice. Their sister, their daughter, had been killed in the most brutal manner, and they wanted the truth to come out. But as the case moved forward, it became clear this would not be an easy road to justice. The Jimenez family was powerful, wealthy, and well-connected in politics and business. They denied the allegations, claiming they were being framed. Court hearings were marred by delays, motions, and legal maneuverings. Witnesses recanted, affidavits were withdrawn, and what once seemed like a strong case began to weaken. Years passed. The Barrameda family's grief turned to frustration. Despite the recovery of Ruby Rose's remains and the testimony of a supposed insider, securing a conviction proved nearly impossible. By 2017, 10 years after Ruby Rose's disappearance, the case had all but collapsed. Courts dismissed charges against several of the accused. Her family lamented that justice seemed to slip further away, even as the memory of her gruesome fate remained vivid in the public's mind. The story of Ruby Rose Barrameda is more than just a tale of one woman's tragic end. It is a chilling reminder of how power, influence, and fear can silence truth and obstruct justice. To this day, many still ask, who truly killed Ruby Rose? Who ordered her murder? And why, despite the horrifying evidence, does justice remain out of reach? For the Barrameda family, and for a nation that followed every twist of this story, the pain endures. Ruby Rose was not just a name in the headlines. She was a daughter, a sister, a mother. And the way her life was taken, locked in steel, drowned in silence, will forever remain one of the darkest crime stories in Philippine history. Her story is one of violence, but also of resilience. A reminder to never stop asking for justice, no matter how long the fight, and no matter how powerful those who stand in the way. The waves may have hidden Ruby Rose Barrameda's fate for years, but the truth could not stay buried forever. Her story is a painful reminder that justice, though slow, can surface even from the darkest depths. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pinoy True Crime Story. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life Filipino crime stories told in full detail. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Stories that must be remembered, so history does not repeat itself. Until next time, this has been Pinoy True Crime Story. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and remember, the truth always surfaces.